Hello there YouTube, In Retrospect is back once again, bringing you some Final Fantasy X. Ha ha ha, another rhyme. I just love doing those. Now, I thought I'd show you some FF10 today because I've done FF9 I think, and this game's kinda similar in one aspect but a lot different in others. I think it's quite a popular game and probably one that's been requested quite a lot. And you know, I am taking into account any requests I get, but there's a lot of them where I think, you know, I want to do that game, but I don't know if I could make it into a good video. Like, Jak and Daxter's a perfect example, right? I love those games, but I kind of look at them and I think, actually, I haven't really played all that much of these games, and I don't know if you could really make it into an entertaining video. They're great games, but there's not really that much to say about them, to be honest, but we'll see, maybe in the future. But this game has a lot of different things to talk about, and what I thought I'd start with is just a standard kind of battle. Now, I'm playing on my brother's save file here because I couldn't find mine, so the characters are not exactly the highest level, but they got a decent amount of stuff unlocked, so I figured I'd just use gameplay from here. Now, I'm showing you a couple of overdrives here. Kimahri's what is Ronso Rage, I think, which lets you use any kind of ability which you've learned off monsters. It's kind of cool because each of the characters in this game, like in FF9, have their own specific roles, and you can't really deviate from that. I mean, you can deviate more than you can in FF9, but what I mean is, like for example, Yuna here, the one in the middle is the White Mage. One on the right, Lulu, or left from their perspective I guess, is the Black Mage. So doing heavy damage pretty much, he says, as Yuna uses Flare. But pretty much it's quite cool because they do divide them into their different roles. And I think you get access to all the characters pretty early on in the game. You play as Tidus, the main guy, or Tidus, however you say it. I keep wanting to say Tidus because it's like tide, like, you know, tide of the water, but no, whatever his name is, he's the main character, you play as him, and the overall storyline is there is some big monster thing called Sin, and he wants to wipe out all the worlds. And the idea is every year these people would sacrifice a summoner, who in this case is supposed to be Yuna. You sacrifice one of those and it stays away for X number of years. But they said, no, this time we're not going to do it, we're going to take this thing out, we don't want to keep sacrificing these summoners. So that's what it's all about. Now this here is the sphere grid. This is pretty much how you level up in the game. Now, when you get X amount of experience after beating a battle, you don't kind of level up directly, but you get these S level points. And what it lets you do is move around this board, which is the sphere grid. Now I zoomed out a minute ago I think, just to show you kind of the overview of it, but pretty much it's loads of spheres linked together, and each character starts in their own place, so, you know, relevant to what their role is. So Lulu will start by all the Black Mage spheres, and Yuna will start near the White Mage spheres, and Kimahri just starts wherever Kimahri starts, but you basically move around, and every time you move, you can activate an adjacent, is that the right word? Adjacent node, and you can just use a sphere to actually activate it. Depending on what the sphere is, you need to use a different kind of power sphere or whatever you call them. So that's how that works, that's pretty much how you develop your characters. Now this is the equipping screen. I got Kimahri here with his Dragoon Lance and his Metal Armlet. I think Dragoon Lance might be the better one. Yeah, I think that's like the magic counter, evading counter, super uber weapon, but pretty much what you can do is just choose your weapon and armor. It's a lot simpler than 9 in that you only have those two to mess around with. But what you can do is go into here, where if your weapons happen to have kind of empty slots on them, I think they have a maximum of 4 slots, but pretty much you can just use items to assign new abilities to them, and they change name, which is pretty cool. So that's how the customization works. Now, here is the airship. The airship, once you get to kind of the later parts of the game, maybe like halfway through or 2/3, you get access to this airship, and, you know, of course there's got to be a guy called Sid. It's FF, of course. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to the Cenubius Sands, I think, to show you a bit more battling. I just wanted to show a bit of the interface and stuff, just because I find it kind of interesting in this game. I think they did that quite well, but gonna go ahead and find some more battles. What have we here? That smashing screen thing, by the way. Love that. Oh, it's a Cacta! I know what to do to Cacta. I think I will go ahead and summon Bahamut, or Bahamut, however you say it. Now the Aeons in this game, pretty much just the summons of any Final Fantasy game. They do a lot of work, believe me. Now I think this particular one is probably one of the more powerful ones, but Yuna, as well as being the White Mage, can summon these things. I think you get them as you go through the game just by kind of defeating them or something, like purifying them. Don't exactly remember, but pretty much they do a lot of damage, and I think they're the only things in the game that can probably break the damage barrier of 10,000s. No, there's probably other things, but watch this. I'm just going to show you the animation of this, and I'm just not going to talk over it because it is pretty awesome. Massive, massive overkill. Now, I probably should have mentioned this at the start, but the way the battle system works is it's all turn-based. So the thing in the top right there you saw in the battle, that pretty much determines the order of which you're doing moves, if that makes sense. Like, each character has their move slot lined up, and you get to do a move there. There's no active time thing, so you can take as long as you want to choose a move, which a lot of people didn't like, but I thought was kind of interesting. I don't prefer it to the normal style, but I still think it's pretty good. Oh yes, this is my favourite moment. Now Riku there, the girl on the left, has a special overdrive called Mix, which lets you just combine 2 of any item you've got, and it will just either do a lot of damage or do a lot of healing to your team, pretty much. I don't know any of the combinations of this because I never really use it, but I pretty much just thought, okay, let's pick an item that looks really awesome and then just use 2 of them and see what happens, right? Now, I'm sure there's much more awesome ones than this that I haven't really known about before, but this is a Chaos Grenade, does a lot of damage, a lot of status effects, and, you know, that's going to be a dead bunch of dingoes, or whatever they were. Now, next bit I'm going to show you is pretty interesting. I think this is probably the #1 reason why FF10 is kind of up there as one of my favourite games, favourite FF games at least. Now, FF10's got a mini-game, I say mini-game in kind of quotation mark things because it's not really mini. It could be a game in itself. It's called Blitzball. Now, I think Blitzball only kind of pertains to the story, maybe like once or twice. I think you have to do 1 match kind of as a part of the storyline, but hey, regardless, I've spent probably more time playing Blitzball than I have actually playing the storyline, so yeah, it's pretty damn good. There was a point where I'd just go on FF10 just to play Blitzball. It's pretty fun. Now, again, it's my brother's data, so I don't really approve of his team layout there, but it kind of works, you know. You set your positions, so your attacker, defender, goalie, whatever. I don't know what game you'd compare it to in real life mainly, but it's kind of like, you know, pass the ball up the field, throw it into the goal kind of thing. You're swimming underwater, and apparently everyone here can breathe underwater, so that's pretty cool. But what you do is you choose your characters. They each have their stats there, so speed is just movement speed. Attack is your ability to tackle, block, just blocking passes and shots pretty much. Shoot, obviously shooting, pass, obviously passing. Endurance is your ability to take tackles pretty much, and catch is just for the keepers. Now, what you do here is you choose your marks at the start of the game. If there's any enemy players on the other team that have abilities that you want to learn, you just watch them, and then when they do use them, you press X, I think, and you get their ability, so I think I'll show you that at some point. Yeah, it's just a really well thought out game, really fun to play, and you can get kind of items for your party by winning tournaments and stuff, so it does kind of, you know, link in with the game to a certain extent. We got Order Guado here. If this was me, it would be Lina. Lina is a player on the other team, and she is completely dominant, she just destroys everything. Literally, I got that character up to maybe like level 70 or 80 on my data, and she's massively overpowered by that point. You can shoot from your own goal line and, you know, literally just score from there. That's how powerful she is. Napshot 3 for the win. Now, I'm going to pass across the field. Pretty much, when you come across another player, like Argay, Ronso, came across me there. And what you want to do is either you break to them, which is, you know, pretty much endure their tackle, see if you can take it. And the way you decide that is, oh, okay, well, they have 17 attack, I have 13 endurance. I'm probably not going to take that tackle. It's not kind of an exact science because you don't necessarily beat someone who has lower endurance than your attack, but, you know, pretty much that's what will probably happen. So now I'm going to go ahead and just tackle this guy. Half a shoot because I used a special ability. But yeah, either you can break to them and try and weather their tackle, or you can just try and pass or shoot beyond them. And they kind of arrange them. If there's multiple people, they'll arrange them in order of how high their attack is. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and try and break to this one. Copy their technique and miss their tackle because that's how Rop rolls. Gonna dodge that, and I'm going to go ahead and pass beyond Lina because I didn't think I could pass beyond both of them, and I didn't think I could endure both of them, so I thought, you know, take the middle ground. So it's pretty strategic and pretty interesting game to play, but I think I score another goal in a sec, just kind of luring them away with the Guados who have really good speed. Gonna go ahead and pass beyond Nuvi Ronso. Don't know how she got me from there, but whatever. I just kind of look at the minimap the whole time, that's how I play it really, but... Yep, we are getting towards the end of the video here, guys. Sorry I didn't really say much about the storyline, but to be honest, I don't really know much about the storyline. I played this years ago, but... Yep, hope you all enjoyed. If you haven't played this game, definitely check it out. It's probably quite cheap on eBay, like with most of the games I do in this series, but... Yep, with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.